Yo, what's good, Rap Squad? It's DJ Skandalous coming back with some more hip-hop news. This time we're going to break down Busta Rhymes and Fat Joe on the Fat Joe Show, talking about the incident involving Tupac and the Tribe Called Quest. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with this, during the Source Awards, before Tupac went to prison, so mind you, this is before Me Against the World dropped, this is before All Eyes on Me, Machiavelli, Death Row. Tupac was set to perform the song Out on Bail, which wasn't even a released song at that point. That song later got released in 2004 on Tupac's album Lord of the Game, which was remixed by Eminem. So the original version of that song, Tupac was set to perform at the Source Awards. However, when the Tribe Called Quest was on stage doing their acceptance speech, the beat to the song actually started playing. This caused Tupac to go out on stage and start rapping his song. And from there, a big altercation occurred between the Tribe Called Quest and Tupac. Now, interesting enough, Busta Rhymes actually met Tupac. They actually met several occasions, and he goes over this on the Fat Joe Show. I'm going to have more of this on my Skandalous Talk YouTube channel about the other stories involving Busta Rhymes meeting Tupac, as well as Tupac shooting 2 off-duty police officers in Atlanta, Georgia. So for this part, it's Busta Rhymes talking about the Source Awards and the altercation between the Tribe Called Quest, Q-Tip, and Tupac. And he actually goes on to say he was actually one of the main reasons as to why that beef was eventually squashed. All right, guys, now let's get it.
It was also like when I saw Pac and Q-Tip had beef. Tribe.
I never knew this. This is a Joker moment. This is a Joker moment. I never knew Pac and Q-Tip had beef.
Yeah, Pac and Q-Tip had a very serious and a very intense beef. Like, thank you, Gonzalo. This is during the time when I'm shooting Higher Learning movie. Right? We talking like 93, 92. And Source Awards, before they started to air on television, was at that same location at the Paramount Theater in Madison Square Garden. At least that's what it was called at the time, I believe. This is the same stage where Suge Knight tried to diss Puff at that Source Awards. So this particular Source Awards, I believe, was the one or two of them before that particular moment, right? So me, Tupac, Omar Epps, we were staying in the Oakwood Apartments, which is the fully furnished apartments in LA on Hollywood Boulevard in Fuller.
I stayed there before.
So you know what I'm talking about, right? So in this particular crib, it's like buildings full of fucking fully furnished apartments. Pac was in one floor, Omar Epps was on another floor, I'm on my floor. We bouncing back and forth to each other cribs the whole time we out there shooting movies. And Tupac, during this time frame, had to go to New York because he was performing at this particular Source Awards. So this is when we was all performing off of DAT tapes, crack. So you know, once the motherfucking engineer press play on your DAT tape, it ain't like you could stop that shit and play.
No, you got to go.
You got to go, right? So Tribe was doing their acceptance speech for Best Group of the Year. They had won the award for that year at the Source. And Tupac was supposed to be the next performance after their acceptance speech was complete and Pac got introduced, right? So somehow the production person, the stage production manager, wasn't paying attention to what was really happening. And the motherfucker ended up pressing play in the middle of the Tribe acceptance speech. So Pac just comes out there performing all over their speech like he was shitting on their speech. You feel me? So that wasn't Pac's fault, but it looked like a flagrant Pac disrespect.
It looked like some Pac shit.
Right. It looked like a flagrant Pac disrespect.
Pac 101.
Right. So, you know, and at the time, because Pac, you know, had this little rep of being a little bit of a loose cannon, it looked like All right, here he go again, right? So the beef starts. Pac comes off the stage, Tribe, they with Zulu Nation, and shit get crazy. So it ain't lead to no blows, but a pressure was very intense between Tribe and Pac at the time. And they ended up, fortunately, not going to blows, but they didn't walk away from that shit with the beef squashed. So it was going to lead to something if they crossed paths again and somebody didn't step in to intervene and mediate and try to put it to bed. Pac came back to the Oakwood Apartments.
And you there?
Yeah, and I'm there. And he know my relationship with Q-Tip. So he gave me the call and said, you got to come check me real quick. So I come and I pull up on Pac. When I pull up on Pac, we ain't even talk about it right away. I get to his apartment and we in there chilling, and he actually got mad blood all over the place. And he had an MPC 60 beat machine in his apartment, and it was looping this Isley Brothers sample. And he had wrote about 3-4 songs to the same sample for different records, which was confusing to me because I never saw that. Like, I write one song to a beat, I'm not writing a different song to the same beat. Pac wrote 3 or 4 songs to this same sample, and we blowing tree, and, you know, I ain't want to seem anxious to know what he was talking about because, you know, it's also the vibe. We hanging around, we blowing tree, we just vibing and chilling. So it almost was like he forgot to talk to me about what he called me to talk to him for because he had got caught up in writing these songs. So I eventually said to him, you wanted to holler at me about something? And he go, oh, yeah. So, you know, this is what happened with me and Q-Tip, and I know you and Q-Tip is like brothers, and it wasn't my fault. They press play on the DAC. I fucking hear my song. I go out there. I got to do what I'm doing. I didn't, you know, I'm focusing on the shit that I got to do. So I wasn't even really paying attention to the fact that they was doing their acceptance speech. And when they approached me on some shit, I didn't know what it was about. I need Q-Tip to know I wasn't on no bullshit. Like, I got unbelievable respect for Tip and Fife and Tribe. So could you get us on the phone? Because he ain't have Tip number. So I called Tip, and I talked to Tip about Pac getting on the phone, wanting to talk to him. Him and Pac spoke. And what's the dude that used to be on BET with the light brown eyes and shit? Donnie Simpson or something?
Donnie Simpson, the
Simpson.
green-eyed guy.
What? He was still on BET at the time.
He's still fly, by the way. He works at a radio station in D.C. He's the Billy D's of the game. He's still fly.
Oh, that's a fact.
Still on the radio in D.C.
And he got the motherfucking Billy D. Williams voice for real. He definitely big up to Donnie Simpson, legend. So Tip and Pac spoke. They actually squashed the shit, and they were now trying to strategize a way to get on BET and do a public truce. And it didn't get to happen.
What's really interesting about all this, right? I wasn't even familiar with Busta Rhymes actually even meeting Tupac in real life. Now, a common myth between Busta Rhymes and Tupac is they actually made music together, and this stems from the song Trump Tight, also known as Jinxing Power, from the One Nation album, which is still unreleased. However, that's not Busta Rhymes on that actual track. However, the only really track that we had between them two is the Rap Phenomenon remix of Victory, which Busta Rhymes actually recorded a new chorus, a new hook for Tupac's versus Military Minds as Struggle Continues, which is still unreleased. Now back to what I was saying, I wasn't even familiar that they even met each other, so it's kind of cool that they actually did. And it's actually cool that he actually breaks down that he was friends with both Biggie and Tupac, but more so familiar with Biggie and that side of the beef. He had more ties to Bad Boy, Junior Mafia. Now what's really interesting about this is that Busta Rhymes actually recorded a song with Biggie called The Ugliest, which was unreleased at the time of Tupac's death. However, it was set to appear on, I believe, Busta Rhymes' 95 or 96 album that he was working on. However, in the song, Biggie actually took shots at Tupac and actually dissed him in the song. Now, it's common belief that this song never came out due to that beef and due to those lines in that song. And it is believed that the reason as to why that song was also not released is because they actually did not want to cause tension between Busta Rhymes and Tupac. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the story. Shout out to Fat Joe. Check him out on Instagram, instagram.com/fatjoe. Also, be sure to check out my Skandalous Talk channel, youtube.com/Skandalous Talk. We're going to break down more of this Busta Rhymes Fat Joe interview on there. All right, guys, you know what time it is. It's time for that outro. It's your boy, DJ Skandalous, your favorite DJ's favorite DJ. And I'll catch all you busters on the flip side. We out. Deuces.